So I think everyone knows I'm Brenda Hetrick with Matrix Solutions, and I'm going to host our last, what we call a fireside chat. So maybe we do need, when I said fireside chat and thought Florida, like who's going to have a fire in Florida, right? But maybe we do need, with the heat, although I do believe it's getting warmer.
It did get warmer, yes.
It did get warmer. So what I'm really excited about is this is the Media Ad Sales Summit. And while we are focused on the ad sales from a technology, ecosystem, ad tech, and revenue generation, we do want to talk about sales leadership and how the future of sales are going. And we wanted to end today with conversations on what are broadcasting organizations doing around restructuring, reorganizing, planning for the future of media ad sales from all of those points of view. People, resources, technology, system solutions, AI, and just how fortunate that when we thought about this topic, Fox O&Os had either issued a press release that they had restructured and that the EVP of sales for the Fox O&Os was going to be Patrick Paoloni, and he has agreed to join me in this conversation. So I thank you for that.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. What I wanted to start out with first is just talk a little bit about what the restructuring, if that's what you want to call it, reorganization of the Fox O&Os means, if you can talk about why you did it and what the current structure looks like, and then we'll dive into it a little bit more. Additionally, I just got read 2 days ago that you have also have a new structure in your political. So if you want to throw that in there, or we can talk about that differently. I just wanted to get your sense of if you can lead the group here from where you were and why you're doing what you're doing and what you expect the results to be.
Great, thank you. So a lot of what was said today is exactly why we've decided to restructure, reorg, whatever you want to call it. Fox television stations, legacy broadcast company, we had a legacy sales organization. So I came in and looked at how we were structured, not for today, not for tomorrow, but for 2025 through 2030. And realized quickly that we were siloed. We had a lot of internal fighting, for lack of a better word, for business. We were structured, even though we had an in-house national sales organization since 2002, it was for all intents and purposes an in-house rep firm. So what we've done is, we were structured with obviously local general sales managers, local account executives at each station. And then we had Fox Station Sales, which was our national sales organization. So now we are FTS Sales, Fox Television Station Sales, and there's no local, no national. Now we are in the process right now of restructuring. So, we still have national business, obviously, and we still have local business and digital business. But I hired 2 senior vice presidents to handle not local or national, but the stations. So they split the 27 stations or 17 markets down the middle. And then we have senior vice president of digital. And then we, as you mentioned, we just announced 2 days ago, we created a new political unit. So all of our political will funnel through this unit. We've also hired a new head of political to spearhead our efforts in the CTV OTT space, which we did not have that position for the last cycle, and we're probably even late in this cycle, but here we are. So we want to create an organization. We have this thing in Fox because of the Fox Corp and the stations, and now it's called One Fox. So we need to be one sales unit, one Fox sales unit, one where we try to eliminate to every degree possible geographic limitations on what you can sell, where you can sell it. Where a local seller, for example, in Atlanta that works for the TV station, if they have a great relationship with a client and or agency, they could sell other stations. We've also created an in-house dedicated CTV OTT that sells our multiple flex FLX, which is for us, it's Fox Local Extension products, which we have, you know, a lot of offerings in that space right now. And so that's where we are from a sales organization. It's evolving. There's been, I thought, some great conversations today, because once you start heading down this path, you start coming up against a lot of things you have to figure out. Comp plans, I know it was mentioned today, but you know, we have legacy comp plans tied to specific targets at a specific station, and you know, we have to kind of figure out how to compensate evenly across the group, how to incentivize across the group to sell the suite of products that we have. So again, still evolving, but we've made a lot of progress in a short time.
I know it's early, and you know, we've read, well, you know, a couple other clients have restructured based on potential agency size, you know, holding companies. Either they have a local and a network aspect, but they're restructuring sales that way. And you have this, which is somewhat aligned with that. I'm curious, did you make these changes with your current sales resources, people in mind, thinking, oh, we've got the teams already here that can fit into the new structure? Or do you anticipate not everyone is going to be able to fit into the new structure, and that you're going to need to be hiring? And we heard this in earlier conversations too, right? The salesperson for this structure might need to be a data scientist, might need to be a media planner, might need to have a clear understanding of, you know, measurement or outcomes. So do you anticipate major changes within your sales people, or do you plan on training them, or you know, what does that plan look like?
So structure first, but making sure that we provide the training to our current sellers, managers, and then we'll evaluate it at that point. But we're not trying to just take the current people we have and fit them into a new structure. We're going to look at the entire structure, and just like we just hired someone in the political space that we did not have. One area that I am really focused on is research data. We're reorging that entire department. You know, we have legacy research directors at stations, and again, individually they do a great job, but are they providing what we need in today's environment to the stations and or the national sellers? We talked a lot about data today. We are data poor. Legacy broadcast stations are data poor. We need more information, more. You know, I could go on an 8-hour rant about Nielsen, but
that was a question I have down.
Sorry, but no, I mean, they just haven't been good enough. They haven't evolved. They haven't supported the local broadcast community to any degree. I've been very vocal about it for a long time. They either just haven't moved fast enough, don't want to. So we have to look at other avenues on that, whether that's video amp, iSpot, whether it's new data or new resources that are coming out in that space. But we have to get away from making decisions without data to support that, especially as we move into the streaming space when it comes to consumer behavior, content creation in that space, and then providing that information to the sellers so they could provide the best data to the clients. And we want clients to be able to do clients want a 360 approach now, for the most part, right? What do you have to offer? Whether it's in the linear space, the streaming space, which, you know, like a flex product that could go out to 210 DMAs, you know, Tubi plus 150 channels, or our new Flex News bundle, which takes our fast channels and our new Fox Local CTV app, bundles them together, fed through MadHive to Freewheel, except for Tubi. But so it's making sure that there's a lot of data in the streaming and digital space. Very, very little on the linear side.
So I wanted to have two questions there, just to clarify. So on the local side, or this reorganization, you are not going to be selling for Tubi. That's going to be
No, we're not selling for Tubi.
Okay.
No, we use Tubi as part of our offerings, but we do not sell for Tubi.
Do not sell. Then I wanted to just, even though I had the measurement question a little bit later, I'm going to ask now, and I know you had said Nielsen is not, doing a good enough job. You mentioned other currencies. I know from earlier today we don't want to call them alternative currencies. We need to stop saying that. So have you leaned in on any, or you're just in the testing phase, or?
Mostly the testing phase. And even with Nielsen, we're testing their OTT data. Interesting, obviously they're measuring it with the same methodology that they apply to the linear, which is of concern. We certainly want an accurate, consistent currency that measures ad impressions across multiple platforms. That's where we have to go. The digital streaming space is not going to revert to what Nielsen is doing in the linear space. So the linear side, and clients want ad impression data as well. We have to evolve to that. I will say, with the Nielsen test in the OTT space, what's encouraging is, and I'll give you an example, in the month of October, for all of our television stations, we looked at 6 to 9 a.m. We received about a 12% lift in viewing on our streams. All right, that's the FAST channels and our local CTV app. Of the 12%, 84% never watched the linear station in the month. So 12% lift, and of that, 84% of that 12% did not watch. So in essence, you had about a 10% unduplicated reach increase. Very encouraging. It shows that people will consume and want to consume news content, local news content in that space. So if you believe the Nielsen numbers, it's an encouraging sign.
How are you positioning the process for the ad sales? And I know you talked about if you have an AE in Atlanta who has a great relationship with this agency, she can be responsible for sales for all of Fox with that. Are you using systems so that you don't, be uncoordinated in those?
Yes. CRM, Salesforce.
Yep. So you do use your systems, and then do you manage through those that they are coordinating with? Do you have like different types of sellers that come in as part of the team to manage that?
Depending on what they're looking for.
Yep.
And we're involving the clients in this process as well, because some clients, especially in the OTT space, want one person to deal with, one touch point. So we're going to involve the agencies, the individual clients, retailers, and so forth in the markets. We're not going to take away existing relationships, and we're not going to be, not smart about this, right? But we have to streamline the process, create efficiencies, allow people to step out of their geographic territory. I mean, with the Flex product we have, we can do business in 210 DMAs. We have to be structured to be able to capitalize on that.
How do you manage the process for ad sales with the O&Os, and then also do you coordinate those strategies with your non-owned affiliate stations?
Great question. So now this is my FCC rant that's going to come out of it. Unfortunately, because we are owned by a network, due to FCC laws, by the way, written in 1941 and 1959, we cannot. However, Nexstar, Sinclair, and others can because they don't own the network. It's something we've discussed with our government relations team, and but it's unfortunate that we can't. We could collaborate to a certain degree. We have to have a third party, make sure everything is cohesive. We got DOJ issues that we have to be careful of. But to any extent that we would want to, absolutely. Even to the extent of selling their product for them. But right now, unfortunately, we can't.
Can't do that. How is your process as far as ROI to Fox Do you have structure on, and again, I know we talked about this with sales, and that is what the client wants is what you should be selling, but do you have a value prop for, do you lead with certain products?
We don't lead with certain products. Obviously, on the linear space, your margins are much higher than in the digital space. I mean, I think that's consistent across our business. But in reality, linear business, I think it was Rashad said it today, it's in secular decline. If you look at the CAGRs, if each of you went back and looked at your CAGRs, and I'm sure you do over the last 10 years, it's not a pretty sight in the linear space. We define streaming and OTT as digital. But for us, in my mind, it's just linear dollars moving to another platform. It's video impressions. It's content purchased with video content for commercials and just trying to reach impressions. And that's why I think the measurement is very important, right? To make sure that we could sell this across with consistency and not have to silo this and post in this space with this measurement and then do this and that measurement. It has to be consistent.
So also, we talked about data and that, the O&Os are linear. There is data, I'm sure, but getting to that data, understanding that data, using that data, there's some deficiencies. What else, when you think about the process and when you think about how I can make the Fox O&Os generate, make my forecast, make my budget, and also continue to generate revenue, but also provide value to your clients. Are there areas, and I like this question that Brendan had posed, but what is missing, or what do you not have that you're going to need to find or feel from either a technology perspective, a human resource, or potentially, the government, potentially FCC, but what is not there that you think, this could cause this plan to not work?
System and workflow efficiency. So I think just the panel before us said pitch to pay. We're really digging in on the pain points from the beginning of the process to the end of the process, both on the linear side and the digital side, and see who does what, who's causing whom pain, and how to make it easier both internally and then obviously externally for the client to purchase and not make them jump through hoops to whether it's for cash in advance, and obviously in the political space, or if it's a new advertiser who wants to get on, is it credit cards, is it, we need to make the buy-sell process for the clients much easier than it is today. And then internally, we need to really streamline our processes using tech and systems and possibly new policies and procedures internally to make that process more seamless. There's just too much in that just makes it more difficult.
I have a couple more questions myself or discussion points, but any questions from the audience for Patrick? Just making sure I'm having conversation, but making sure I'm not, ignoring everyone else. We talked about sports. I'm going to say that my Steelers, when they're on Fox, not so good. But what is the role of sports, Fox for the Fox stations, especially the NFL?
I mean, we're a live news sports company right now, all the way down, right? The network, obviously, there's multiple hours of entertainment. Thank goodness the strike is over. But live news and sports. And to give you an example, season to date with the NFL, we're seeing an increase of 24% on impressions alone. I think in the month of September, Fox represented 40% of all sports impressions in their markets where we had an owned and operated. A lot driven by college football. College football has seen an amazing resurgence. The big noon Saturday is very important for us, especially in a lot of our heavy college football markets. And then you get to local sports, which I know there was just a panel on. We have duopolies in many of our markets. Local sports rights seems to be just a lot of upheaval in that space. What can we do there? How can we program these second stations better than we do now? Because we need to figure out, we have this, this benefit in some of these markets, and I don't know if we're taking advantage of it as fully as we should.
So on the local side, and you've talked about live news and sports, live sports. We've always heard that you compete on your content. What is, is there, do you have ownership or say in content creation from the local aspect? And what is, any innovative or new things that are going on in your content creation?
So a lot of our stations create, so for example, I was the general manager in DC for 10 years before I took this position. We did 91 hours of original content. I say the most in the country. Our Detroit station might argue, depending on how many hours. But we created a lot of original programming, non-news genre. And in the streaming space, that helps us fill out a lot of the gaps when we have syndicated programming or network programming. We need to be in an environment where the stream is live all the time. We also have a product called Live Now. We don't sell it, but it is an aggregate of the station's news contents with additional content. That's a fast channel. It streams 24/7. So a lot of our stations will fill the gap on their stream when they don't have live news with Live Now. So they'll grab 2 hours of it or an hour of it or whatever they need to do in that space. And then Live Now is also on our fast channel, our CTV app, Fox Local.
So let me just make sure that I understand too. On the My Networks, you are also able to monetize that
Correct.
inventory. Okay,
Yeah.
all across the whole.
All across, yep.
Okay. Last question that I have, and this is when you look out to, you said you're planning for 2025. When you look out to 2025, and I know 24 is an election year, and sometimes that skews everybody's thinking about actually putting in place efficiencies and technologies that work, because the guess is we're going to get a lot of money in political spend.
We hope.
Yeah, we hope. But I'm of the belief that mask, those 4 years or 2 year elections mask the inefficiencies and allows us, as Rashad said, to be a little lax and not have that sense of urgency, because we do get these bumps or, potential sporting events, Olympics or, World Series or Super Bowls gives the media organizations bumps that have a false sense of, oh, it's
where
working.
The industry is.
But it's not. So what do you think, again, 2025, your plan, what you're putting in place, what will be successful? How will you know it's going to be a success in 25, what you're organizing right now? That's
a great question. We do have the Super Bowl in 25. So.
And I hope the Steelers are in it.
We'll take that. So it's a great question. So, measuring performance, there's a variety of ways to do that. We do spend a lot of time looking at where the base markets are, how our stations are forecasting correctly outside of the political landscape. Do they have the right forecasting tools? Are they maximizing their news inventory? What does their news profitability look like? We need to examine from both a content standpoint and a sales standpoint what's working and what's not working, and have to be able to move quickly to offset that. The CTV, OTT space is going to continue to grow. We got to try to create efficiencies on that side as well. I mean, the one thing I've realized quickly since taking the job is the back end for your OTT CTV space is immense. I mean, just from insights and ad ops and planning and working with third parties and it's just a lot of people, which obviously costs resources and money. And it's also realigning the resources. You asked a question earlier about people. Making sure you have the right skill set, and then you put those people in the right location. I mean, the fact that some of our stations still have the same number of linear sellers they did 10 years ago, it doesn't make any sense. That doesn't mean those sellers should go away, but can they move and sell something else? Are they selling something else? Should you have a transactional team and a new cross-platform team? So looking at all of those things as we move into 25.
I appreciate it, but it does sound like this is the right conference for you with, us coming together, getting efficiencies, the back end, the CTV, the OTV. I know there's a lot of people out here who could probably help with solving those problems. I want to thank you. I want to see, does anybody have questions?
Just a quick question.
Yep.
You had mentioned restructuring the sales teams and things like that. Is there also a thought to go to self-service for some of your sales activity?
I'm sorry, I said.
Self-service, so if one of your clients, customer, wanted to run their own ad, they go into a website and generate their own orders.
So not right now, but that's something that we would absolutely consider down the road, depending on, the walls and what can be purchased and so forth. I know some of the agencies have products that they offer that would do that to a certain degree, more on a programmatic basis, but we're going to talk, you have to be open to, but to answer your question a different way, 2, 3, 5 years ago, that would have been an automatic no from our division, and now it's not.
Any other? Another question? Yes.
You say a little bit more about your relationship in ad sales with the 2E. Is that like they don't want you to sell the local signal or feed? And then the second thing I bring up is I know 2E just announced a deal with the NBA and G League. Like they would not let you sell that in the market or you have a station as a 2E.
Yeah, so we don't sell Tubi, but we can sell the inventory in Tubi for our clients through the 2 Flex Fox Local Extension products that we have. Both regular Flex, which is the entertainment Flex, and then our fast channels, all of our stations' fast channels are on Tubi. So there's multiple ways that our clients can buy Tubi inventory. Well, really, it's our inventory in the new space on Tubi, and then also Tubi's inventory through the Flex product. But we do not represent Tubi in a network sales environment. That's handled by network sales.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. I'm going to call Mark up to the stage.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.